Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and it is day 4 of Superman Week, where today I'm going to talk about my top 5 Superman villains. Okay? Starting with number 5, Doomsday. For those, pretty much everyone knows Doomsday as the monster that killed Superman. And they're right, that is Doomsday's notable trait. He killed Superman. He was created on ancient Krypton, like prehistoric times on the planet, billions of years ago, to be like the ultimate being that could survive almost any kind, that could survive death itself. And each time he died, he'd come back stronger. And the first story arc he appeared in was obviously the death of Superman. He was a savage, mindless beast that just sought to annihilate any form of life. And in this case, he fought Earth's most powerful being, Superman. And it ended with a standstill as they both killed each other. And since then, Doomsday has made other frequent appearances in the Superman comics, but I don't really think they've been as powerful as his first appearance, which was when, obviously, he killed Superman, okay? And that's what people always remember Doomsday as. Pretty much you ask anyone, like, you know, hey, who's Doomsday? They'll say, like, oh yeah, he's the creature that killed Superman, you know? And he's also made appearances in a couple of other medias. He did appear twice in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Second time was both times part of Cadmus. Very nice. I definitely say Doomsday is powerful, but most of the time he is just a savage beast and will just, you know, and he's just like a savage dog that needs to be put down. So that's why Doomsday is number 5. Okay, number 4, General Zod. Obviously, General Zod, most of you probably know by now, he will be the main antagonist in Man of Steel, and also he was the main antagonist of Superman 2, which you know, I think is a good idea, because Zod is Kryptonian like Superman. He's from Krypton. However, he survived the planet's destruction because he was in the Phantom Zone. Jor-El pretty much put him in the Phantom Zone, invented the Phantom Zone as an alternative to execution, and so they pretty much decided, General Zod, who was a war criminal, they decided to send him to the Phantom Zone. And that's how General Zod survived the destruction of Krypton. Eventually, he was freed from the Phantom Zone. There's been many different variations about how he's broken free from the Phantom Zone, but he's always been able to come back and seek his revenge on Jor-El by going after his son, Kal-El, Superman. Although usually, most of the Zod stories do get a little repetitive, in that, you know, he breaks out of the Phantom Zone, Superman fights him, and sends him back to the Zone. But other than that, General Zod is kind of like, you know, a full Kryptonian, alright? He was raised on Krypton, he knows everything about Kryptonian culture. Superman, raised on Earth, he's a Kryptonian who has a very Earth way of thinking, and obviously that angers Zod, because kind of in Zod's eyes, he sees Kal-El as someone who's forgotten about Krypton, and Kal-El is technically the last son of Krypton, so he sees that as a disgrace, and that's probably another reason why Zod hates Superman. But no, it's always in the right hands. Though there have been some good General Zod stories in the past, such as Last Son, where Zod actually used his own son to invade Earth and trap Superman in the Phantom Zone. And like I said, Superman 2, great movie. That's also an appearance by General Zod. I mean, most of the time when people in movies and stuff, doing Superman movies or cartoons, need someone to fight Superman, I think General Zod is a good idea, because, you know, he's from Krypton, so obviously they'd be a little evenly matched. And in Zod's case, he's had military history, so he definitely would know how. So he might have a little bit of an edge over Kal-El, but nevertheless, Superman has always conquered and defeated Zod. Okay, number 3, Darkseid. The reason Darkseid is number 3 and not like number 1 or anything, it's because, well, even though Darkseid has made frequent appearances in Superman media, such as Superman the Animated Series, Smallville, as kind of a main antagonist for a particular season, I've always seen him as really more of just a general DCU threat instead of just a Superman threat. I mean, yeah, Darkseid obviously goes after Superman because, well, he's Superman. He's strong, he represents hope for the people of Earth, and Darkseid, he's pretty much ultimate evil. He doesn't want to conquer just conquer planets or anything. He wants to seek the anti-life equation so he can annihilate all free will throughout the galaxy, throughout the universe. And yeah, if you haven't seen any Darkseid, and Darkseid is pretty powerful though. If you've seen his appearances in I think the best incarnation of Darkseid that we've had in other media is probably the DC animated universe, like Superman the animated series, Justice League. When I heard Darkseid was going to be the main antagonist for the final season of Smallville, I was like, yes, that's going to be epic. Unfortunately, even though I did like the finale, Darkseid's role in it was a little lackluster, to say the least. But yeah, Darkseid's but if you saw, but I think the better representation is the last episode of Superman the Animated Series, where Superman fights Darkseid, and it is one of the best fights I saw on that show. I mean, even as a kid, I remember watching that fight thinking, "Oh, this is epic. This is very important." And I didn't even read comics when I watched the show back when I was 6, but I knew that it was important. I knew Darkseid was a very, very bad dude. I mean, just when you see him, I mean, just the impression that you see when you see Darkseid, you think, wow, you do not want to mess with this guy. He is evil. But yeah, Darkseid, number 3. He's a good villain. Really like it. Really, if in the right hands, I think he can definitely be used as a good Superman a good threat to Superman. And number 2, Brainiac. Another big Superman villain. I say that Brainiac is my favorite villain because like I said, I kind of grew up on Superman the Animated Series, and right after Darkseid, Brainiac was also a recurring antagonist. And he made frequent team-ups with other characters such as Darkseid in Justice League Unlimited, and also in Superman the Animated Series, and a couple times, and in Justice League Lex Luthor. But yeah, Brainiac is pretty much a threat from outer space. He was Koloan. Well, he's from the planet Kolu. I can't exactly say this isn't Koluan or. Yeah, I think that's how it is. Anyways, he pretty much went on a quest to collect information about each world and try to be like the sole keeper of knowledge throughout the universe. And he would do this by shrinking a city on a planet and keeping it in a little bottle, which notably he did to the city of Krypton known as Kandor. He shrunk it, kept it in a bottle, and went throughout space. However, he didn't really need to and usually he destroyed the planets. However, in Krypton's case, he really didn't have to because it was on its way to destruction. So he thought, okay, just take the city, save myself a trip there. And that's pretty much what Brainiac is. And if you read Superman Brainiac, we get apparently that's like the first appearance of the real Brainiac, and every other time Superman's fought Brainiac, it's either been a probe or an imposter. Well, Brainiac is really deadly. Okay, unlike other Superman villains who are alive, they have like some human fault. Brainiac really doesn't. Even though in multiple times they've said he's an organic being, he's really more of a machine. And in terms of being a machine, he definitely has this cold, calculating logic where he's just not going to make a mistake, and he's always going to, not always do logically what's best and stuff. Man, it's really hard to elaborate here with Brainiac, but Brainiac, he's really deadly. He wants to pretty much take all the knowledge. Well, I remember his motivation from the animated DCU. It was seek knowledge about the entire universe, then delete the universe, and that will be his primary program will be fulfilled. And that's what happened to numerous worlds. And thus, and if you read Brainiac, then I think the best Brainiac story is obviously the one written by Jeff Johns, Superman Brainiac. It's a very nice story, and that's the reason what made me really interested in the Brainiac character from the comics. Okay, and my number one Superman villain. This one should be obvious. Lex Luthor. Yep, Lex Luthor. He hates Superman. He hates Superman with an iron fist. Lex, he doesn't have any superpowers. He's an ordinary human. He just sees Superman as a threat to himself. He believes, basically, Luthor, he's a bit of a narcissist. He really wants to prove to everyone that he's the smartest guy in the room, that he's the pretty much perfect being, he's the ultimate savior of humanity, but he feels like he can't do any of this, he can't do any good things, because he'll always be outshined by Superman. So he decides, I'm going to kill Superman. Because, you know, it really steams Luthor up that this alien from another planet is taking away all his glory from him, and that's really Luthor's main reason why he hates Superman. Jealousy. Green with envy. And, which is really funny because his weapon of choice, kryptonite. Yeah, I bet every time someone puts a piece of kryptonite on eBay, Luthor's just there bidding to get more of it. And funny story about kryptonite that they did post Crisis on Infinite Earths was Luthor had a ring made out of green kryptonite that he wore so that Superman couldn't get near him. Unfortunately, though, the ring did give him cancer, and he had to clone a new body and put his brain in it and let his old body die. And also, Luthor is very deadly. Like, he is just... I mean, if he puts his mind to something, he will do absolutely nothing. Nothing will stop him from achieving his goal. I mean, he's just... I mean, it's borderline psychotic, really. And he doesn't... And he is just very... And his main flaw is his arrogance. He believes that he's perfect, he's the ultimate savior, and that he could do anything. And I remember in All-Star Superman, one of my favorite scenes of dialogue between Superman and Luthor was right after Luthor's superpowers wear off, and Superman destroys the last extra sample he made. Luthor's just like, I could save the world if it wasn't for you. Then Superman just says, if it mattered to you, Lex, you would have saved the world a long time ago. And I mean, that just sums it up what the real difference between Superman and Luthor is. Luthor will only try to save the world if he gets the glory. Superman, he doesn't care. He just wants to help, just because that's how he was raised. Luthor, however, only will help people just out of ambition, out of power, or a need for power, or vanity. So, you know, in a lot of ways, Luthor is the anti. In terms of personalities and ambition and goals, Luthor is definitely practically the opposite of Superman, and I think that's what makes him the best villain for the Man of Steel. Okay, yeah, so that's it. Sure, just one quick rundown. The top 5 again, just a little short version. Number 5 was Doomsday. Number 4, General Zod. Number 3, Darkseid. Number 2, Brainiac, and number 1, Lex Luthor. Okay, that's my top 5. Those are my top 5 villains for the Superman universe. Thank you for watching. Please comment with your top 5 if you want. I hope you're enjoying Superman Week so far. We've got a few more videos to come out before the Man of Steel premiere. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.